Why have people been talking about the execution of Marcellus Williams? I saw a lot of people saying that it was unjust and calling it murdering an innocent person. Was there lack of evidence to support the execution, or what happened? Answer: many people, including the original case's prosecutor, supported a stay of execution so that a retrial could potentially be organized. Those appealing Marcellus's guilty verdict were calling for the conviction to be voided, because they said there were extensive issues that prevented him from having a fair trial the first time. For one, a potential juror was excluded from the pool because they were black, raising the concern that racism played a role in creating an unfair environment. For two, evidence on the murder weapon had potentially been mishandled, creating the possibility that DNA on the weapon was not a match, or could not be conclusively proven to be a match, to Marcellus, which would have gone a long way to potentially exonerating him. This mishandling was not made known to his defense attorney, once again calling into question if he had a fair trial. When the case was sent to a judge to review, it was discovered that the DNA evidence that supposedly proved someone who wasn't Marcellus had used the weapon had also apparently been mishandled. This means it couldn't be proven that Marcellus did handle the weapon, but it also couldn't be proven that someone who wasn't Marcellus had handled it. In essence, the evidence had been so compromised, it was impossible to tell who did or did not handle the weapon. And since Marcellus's appeal hinged on the DNA proving he didn't handle the weapon, the judge looked at other evidence and decided it was enough to prove guilt, even without the weapon and DNA evidence. Therefore, appeal was rejected. The case then went to the Missouri Supreme Court, who opted not to grant a stay of execution, and so the sentence was carried out. People are particularly upset about this case because even the original prosecutor, who was responsible for convicting Marcellus, was in favor of granting a new trial. And generally, you have to prove someone is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. They don't have to prove they are innocent. The evidence had to prove Marcellus did do it, not Marcellus having to prove he didn't. And people see the judge's decision as essentially trying to force Marcellus to prove he was innocent, which would be next to impossible to do conclusively because you can't prove a negative.